Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're tuning in from in the world. This is 26 Minutes, the podcast where we talk to people making an impact on the planet and locally too. Today, our wonderful guest is James MacNeil. Oh, James is doing incredible work, helping the planet for sure. And James, if you don't mind, I'm just going to read your bio. So beautiful. Oh, I should say that I'm your host, Cathy Nesbitt. And this is my first podcast where I'm hosting. All right, so here we go. James MacNeil. Oh my gosh. I love James, by the way, just so you know. Okay. James is a 30-year veteran, world-class speaker, thought leader, consultant, and international best-selling author. James helps you live your best possible life as your best possible self through pure spiritual intelligence, verbal aikido, and the Wealthy World Changer workshops. James is raising up million-dollar gurus all over the world, teaching from his experience working with the world's most powerful banks, international law enforcement agencies, and sharing the stage with his guru dad, Les Brown, Tony Robbins, Deepak Chopra, Robin Sharma, Bob Proctor, Grant Cardone, Jack Canfield, Mel Robbins, Steve Forbes, Eric Thomas, and Sir Richard Branson, to name a few. Welcome, James.
Well, thank you, Cathy. I'm so honored to be your very first solo interview. So I'll try and behave myself, and I'm very excited to be here. So yeah, I'm all in. Let's have fun.
Yeah, so we go back a ways. I first was introduced to James, oh my gosh, I think it was around 2012 in an author program. And I saw James speak about writing a book and being dyslexic and his whole journey. And I just was so moved by you, James, by your approachability, by the journey that you've come, and how now you are setting out to help people to step into leadership and do what they need to do. Can you tell us where you're tuning in from in the world?
Sure. I'm currently in Playa del Carmen in Mexico, and I'm living my dream life, and I'm loving every second here.
Yippee! Oh, so great. I wanted to let you know that in 2020, February 2020, my husband Rick and I came to your Dream Life. We go Pure Life Spiritual Intelligent Weekend. And I still have the book. And from that, I met Paula Zamet, and we have been weekly friends. We meet every week since 2020. And I've just reconnected with Sanat down in South Africa. And I think what you're doing is connecting people, leaders around the world, so that we can collaborate and make magic happen.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, what I have the honor of doing is introducing people to ideas, right? Opportunities and other beautiful souls. And, in my spiritual work, I'm constantly telling people to stop saying it. People say, James MacNeil is the miracle worker. I'm like, let's not be crazy here. I'm just a dude. But the miracles are between you and the spirit world, divine love, God, if you will. And I expect them, and I see them, I experience them, and I'm honored to play my part in people's lives. But you taking action and you connecting with those people is how it happens. So congratulations.
Well, I think from being in your program really inspired me to take action. So I do a lot of the things that you suggested, walking in nature every day, the water, I mean, some simple things that we can do, the affirmations. And I wanted to, I'm kind of jumping around a little bit. I wanted to ask you about your BABAM program. You know what I'm talking about.
So BAM is a blessed blessing, abundance. Actually, the M just escaped me. But what
mentality,
it is it's mentality, yeah. And what it's about is to start to see yourself as a giver, not a needy, desperate victim of life. Because every single one of us, everyone listening to this, and everyone who ever will listen to this, can claim the position of victim. Everyone can. We all have stuff. And a lot of people make that their identity. But being a victim is an experience, not an identity. So I've been a victim, whatever, a million times. What I haven't chose to do is identify with that, but rather to see myself as a spiritual being in training in this physical world to become all that I'm designed to be the blessed blessing that the world needs. And so I'm not here to survive it. I'm not here to enjoy it, although enjoying it is part of the package. I'm here to make the world a better place. And so if I'm experiencing challenges, I want to get above that energy and say, okay, how is this good for me? How is this making me a better man? How is this teaching me something that I can, develop from? And so when I move past the victim mindset into the healthy, abundant mindset, the moment I feel abundance, the spiritual state of abundance is a precursor to becoming physically wealthy. And the spiritual abundant state says, I'm fine, I'm okay, I'm abundant, I'm blessed. And so the moment a person feels abundant, they immediately activate their altruism and start serving greatly. The moment we serve greatly, we're now in a very high vibration of making the world a better place. And then we attract to ourselves other high vibrating people. So the secret to success is claim that you're already abundant, and that energy gives birth to the whole success process. So the BAM, right? I am a blessed blessing abundance model. My position is I'm a giver, not a taker. Now, it doesn't mean I don't receive. If I plant a harvest, right? If I plant the seed in the soil, if I protect it, it is right for me to get a harvest and to be blessed for the blessing that I've impacted on the planet. So it is appropriate. So our model with the BAM inside of what's called the 30-day miracle challenge is a simple thing. Just get into the habit of giving something somehow to somebody. And our minimum is just $10. $10. You can walk down the street, hand it to a stranger, you can whatever. But it's just a matter of getting into the habit of being a contributor, not a desperate consumer. And that mindset shift begins a domino effect in the right direction.
Oh, I love it. And because of that, I was like, oh, that, when you don't have money and you don't have abundance, it seems like a lot. It's like, oh, how can I give if I don't have to give? When you give, as you said, it's so from that program, I started giving $30 US a month. So it's 40 something Canadian.
Ooh. Ooh.
And miracles have happened. So it's called Unstoppable. I'm wearing I'm showing you, it's audio. The organization is called Unstoppable, and they build communities in sub-Saharan Africa.
Beautiful.
And one of the directors calls me every year, at least once a year, to thank me. And it's not to ask for more money. It's simply to say, thanks for your contribution. You're making a difference. And this year I asked them if they knew what I did. I signed up with my throwaway account, so they didn't know who I was. And when I told them, it's the 20th anniversary of my worm business, do all the stuff. Now we're going to be working together. They're creating a leadership branch. And I have a sense that I'll be going to Kenya with Unstoppable. And so I'm just,
wow.
Right. Oh, James. So I'm just, when I was going through my notes, preparing for our chat today, I was moved because I realized what an impact you have had on my life. And I know it's because I took action and I did the steps. My question is, why do you feel that people will sign up for programs with every intention of changing their life, but then something gets in the way and stops them and they give up?
Well, I think it starts with, I don't think it's something about those people. I think it's something about us people. I think we all do that sometimes, right? We sign up for something and, sometimes it's for some of us, it becomes a habit. For some of us, not so much, but we all have that, but we have good intentions. And sometimes the good intentions are, I just think this feels right. I'm going to take an action, right? That's fine. And the challenge comes in when people realize what it means, like counting the cost, doing the work. It's one thing to say, I want to get in shape. It's quite another to go to the gym when you don't feel like it, or eat the vegetables when you don't feel like it. So it's not counting the cost that sometimes gets people into trouble. But the other thing that sometimes gets people into trouble is their fear of power. because with great power comes great responsibility. So if a person was to do what they learned in the seminar, the course, the program, right? If they were to do it, they would become a person of influence, right? So power is defined as the ability to act and influence. And some people, they have such fear of responsibility that they're afraid of being so successful that they can be held accountable for their actions and inactions. So a broke person might, you know, throw away their money on stuff and nobody judges them. But if if a billionaire throws away their money, they're going to be in the headlines all over the world. How dare they? They spent their money foolishly. They didn't do what they should do. They didn't. And so the more powerful a person becomes, the more a target of judgment a person becomes. And people who judge other people are less likely to want to be successful because then they expect to get what they've been given. And so they're afraid of the responsibility that comes with success. And so it could be they haven't counted the cost of what it will take to achieve, or they didn't realize that by succeeding, they now become successful. And they're afraid of that for the judgment that might come. They're afraid of responsibility. So those are a couple of ideas that come to mind, but whatever it is, it can be overcome.
Yes, absolutely. Yup. Hallelujah. And you know, I think that or I feel that the system kind of sets us up for survival, and survival is okay. But I really think that we're here to thrive. Again, why is our system, why does like our school system and all of our systems seem to just give us basic information and not everything we need for a wonderful, successful life?
You're
Big
not
question.
setting me up for too much trouble, are you? So first of all, Elon Musk said it'd be easier to populate Mars than to change the educational system on Earth. So the educational system right now has incredibly powerful people behind it. And so there's deep questions inside of why the educational system is the way it is. But at the beginning, the educational system, one of the beginnings, if you will, was during the industrial age. And so how do we get people who have been farming to move to an urban center and work in a factory? These people are accustomed to being free. They're accustomed to, you do your work and you go home, or you do whatever you want. They enjoy nature and freedom. And they said, okay, so we've got to train these people to be factory workers, which means they have to learn to show up when they're told, to go to the bathroom only when they're told, to eat only when they're told. They have to learn to be compliant, like robots, because if these people think, they're going to be a problem. And so the educational system was to train factory workers. And so it may have changed from factory workers to train people to be something else. But the question, the question as to why it's not training up powerful leaders, it might be because it's designed by people who are powerful leaders who may not want the competition. But the world's most successful people are almost all dropouts. That they said, I just can't comply with the machine. I have to be free to be and do what I feel called to do. And so the educational system wants, they want compliance, not thinking, right? So if the educational system said 2 + 2 is 5, and if you answered 4 on the test, they're going to mark you wrong. So you are not judged by accuracy, you're judged by compliance. Did you obey? And so it's about retention and compliance more than it is about education for power and freedom. Now, all of the reasons why and so on, I'm not a therapist, or did I climb into the heads of everyone behind it? But I don't believe the educational system is designed to raise up happy, healthy families and happy, healthy leaders. I think it's designed to create pawns, people who will fall into place and stay inside of the boundaries. And whatever, I mean, they've done lots of good work, and I'm not their judge, but that's my knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah, thank you. So I guess that's why it's important for us to kind of stand in our power. I feel like the last 3 years has given us time to pause, to think, to discover what it is that we really want in life. And I hope that we're we've shifted now. We've turned a corner where people are standing in their power and taking on more leadership roles. What has been your experience during the past 3 years? Have you seen a shift in people's mentality around wanting to do better?
I think that's asking me to assess the outcome of a hurricane while we're still in it, right? I'm not sure where things are going to land. I've seen moments where people said, wait, now I have time to think. I'm no longer on the hamster wheel. I was so mindlessly obeying the machine. I was waking up at a certain time, jumping into the car, going to the place, doing the thing, going home, getting some drinks, watching some TV, falling asleep, doing it again. And I was a numb hamster. And then when we were told to stay home, right? Everything started with the pandemic. Then people are like, well, wait, what do I want? Maybe I don't want to work there. Maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe, wait, hold on. Have I been a zombie for all these years? What about what I want? And they started to think, and I thought, wow, this is exciting. There was a beginning of a spiritual awakening where people were curious. They wanted to learn more. They wanted to delve into what it all means. But right now, I've also seen a lot of further levels of compliance that it's like the human spirit was broken. You know, I talk about the four horsemen of the 4D horsemen of the apocalypse, and what I call it. It's just my own invention, but we are distracted, and we've been distracted a lot. We are deluded, which means misled with information. We know that to be true. We are drugged. There's chemicals in our water and our food and our air. There's chemicals everywhere, and chemicals constrict spiritual attunement. And then lastly, we're demoralized. And once you have a species broken, then they're just going to comply. And I've seen a lot of what I feel is brokenness. Like people's like, I don't know what's up from down. I don't know what anything means anymore. Nothing means anything anymore. The gender stuff is really thrown a lot of people for a loop. They're like, I don't even know what is male and female. I don't know what up from down is. I don't know. Is it a pandemic or a plandemic? Is the government my friend or my enemy? And if they're not my friend, then what do I do about it? Who the heck am I? And it just demoralized people. So I think there's sadly a demoralization level right now that breaks my heart. I do, however, completely believe in the human spirit and the power of divine love and God, if you will. And I'm very comfortable with the word God. I just seek to be respectful of everyone else's perspective. So we're in the middle of a hurricane, and I can't know where everything's going to land. But I've seen whispers of hope, and I've seen signs of demoralization. And yeah, we're not going to know all of the fallout for a long time.
Oh, it's going to be generations, I think. This is it's big. And have you noticed, because you do work around the world, have you noticed a difference in different places? Have Sure. Some countries being more progressive as far as getting through this, whatever it is that we're in, the hurricane?
Yeah. Well, first, I haven't traveled since COVID started. The only places I've traveled is Canada, US, and Mexico. I haven't been overseas or anything since COVID started. So I don't know. What I've seen, however, is some countries and some nations have a mindset of let's get strong, let's get smart. So they're getting trained on the latest technologies, international business, leadership, all kinds of things where, here in North America, the biggest question is, how much sex training do you give and how much, which people groups might be offended and how do we make sure that, people comply, and so we're not being, the focus of Canada, US, so far as I can see, is not how do we become healthy and strong. It's rather how can we fight each other into complete disintegration. So I would say that other countries are being extremely strategic to become healthy, strong nations, and it seems Canada and US have been putting in a concerted effort to perpetuate division and demoralization. So where the energy is going matters. And I think some countries are taking advantage of this opportunity to get ahead.
Wow. It's so heavy, but hopeful. I find that, well, if we don't have hope, then we're hopeless.
Yeah.
like literally. Oh my gosh, this is so great, James. Your words are so, they just flow. It's just so beautiful. I know you've had lots of experience. When I said about traveling around the world, I just meant with the workshops that you do, you deal with people globally. That's all I meant. I didn't necessarily mean that you had physically gone there. We're talking here with James MacNeil, international best-selling author, speaker extraordinaire. He is a miracle worker, even if he doesn't believe it. James, we are just about up for our 26 minutes. Can you let the listeners know where they can find you? And yes.
Sure. So the one way is jamesmacneil.com. James MacNeil, it's MacNeil, jamesmacneil.com. And we do giveaways there. People can get a free copy of my book and get to know me. I'm very Googleable. You can find me on Instagram. I'm at the James MacNeil. And so, yeah, any way that a person may choose to connect, I'd love it. And look forward to whatever is appropriately next.
Fantastic. Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you to the listeners for listening. We are going to take a short break and we will come back with the deeper dive. Oh, James, this has been magnificent. I'm so enjoying our conversation. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, and come back for the deeper dive in a few minutes.